Political theater just reached new heights. Today we're exploring a White House press briefing that reads like a Hollywood script, complete with stranded astronauts, international intrigue, and plot twists that would make Aaron Sorkin jealous.
You know what's fascinating about this? The way they've woven together real people and events into this alternative narrative, like those astronauts supposedly trapped in space for 300 days.
Right, and the rescue mission storyline is just the beginning. We've got these dramatic diplomatic calls between world leaders that feel like they're straight out of House of Cards.
Speaking of dramatic, let's talk about how they present these international negotiations. The level of detail in those diplomatic readouts is incredible.
Well, it's like watching a political thriller unfold in real time. They're claiming progress on partial ceasefires, energy deals, and even discussing missing children, all while managing this delicate balance between Russia and Ukraine.
That reminds me of how the West Wing would handle complex diplomatic scenarios. But this is reality, or at least someone's version of it.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The briefing spends significant time attacking federal judges, claiming that 67% of all injunctions this century targeted one president. It's like they're setting up this classic us versus them narrative.
So what do you make of their handling of the Tesla situation? These reports of dealership attacks being investigated as domestic terrorism feel like they belong in a dystopian drama.
Well, it's fascinating how they're connecting these seemingly separate events into one coherent storyline, like that bizarre situation at the United States Institute of Peace, officials allegedly barricading themselves in their offices, disabling infrastructure. It's straight out of a resistance plot in a political drama.
The way they frame every conflict as this epic battle between political appointees and career bureaucrats, it's like they're writing their own version of Designated Survivor.
You know what's particularly striking? Their handling of contradictions. Whenever reporters point out inconsistencies, there's this immediate pivot to emphasizing their version as the only truth. It's like watching a masterclass in narrative control.
And they manage to turn potentially negative stories into victories, suggesting that opposition to their policies actually proves they're fighting the right battles.
The whole discussion about judicial authority is especially revealing. They're essentially arguing that district court judges shouldn't have certain powers, while simultaneously claiming executive authority that goes well beyond traditional interpretations. It's like watching a constitutional drama unfold in real time.
And let's not forget how they handle questions about verification. There is this consistent message that we should trust the process while they simultaneously question traditional methods.
You know, in many ways, this briefing represents a fundamental shift in political communication. It's not just about managing news cycles anymore. It's about creating and maintaining alternative frameworks for understanding reality itself.
That's exactly what makes this such a compelling document. It's showing us how political narratives are being shaped and defended in this new era of communication.
Looking ahead, I think we're going to see more of this style of political theater, where the line between reality and narrative becomes increasingly blurred, and where every press briefing could potentially be its own episode of prestige television.
Well, that's a somewhat concerning thought for the future of political discourse, isn't it?
Indeed, and perhaps that's the most important takeaway from all this. When political communication starts reading like a TV script, we all need to become more critical viewers of the show being presented to us.